Let's be honest, most men aren't always the best at saying out loud what they truly want in bed. It's not because they're emotionally cold or afraid of you. More often than not, it's because they're scared of being judged, misunderstood, or even rejected for sharing what genuinely turns them on deep inside. So what do they end up doing? They bury it. They push it down and secretly wish you'll just somehow understand or sense it. They keep those desires hidden, locked up in their minds, fantasizing silently, but never daring to voice them out loud. But here's the truth you should know. When you can tap into a man's hidden cravings, when you show him that you're not just physically present but emotionally attuned to what he really wants deep down, you instantly become the kind of woman he simply can't forget. Not just because you're giving him physical satisfaction, but because you're seeing the parts of him he thought he had to keep hidden. You're accepting him, you're turning him on in ways he didn't even imagine were possible. So today I'm going to share with you 6 naughty, dirty things that men secretly want you to do in bed, but they'll almost never gather the courage to actually ask for. These aren't just shallow tricks. They're deeply smart, emotionally aware, and they awaken something raw inside him that he didn't even know he was craving. So let's dive right in. There's something electric that happens the instant you switch the dynamic. When you take the lead, even just for a short moment, you change the entire energy between you two. See, men often grow up with this unspoken pressure to always lead in the bedroom. They feel like they're expected to make the first move, to set the mood, to control the pace, to keep things spicy. And while many men embrace that role and even enjoy it, what they usually won't admit out loud is that they sometimes dream of surrendering that control, even just for a little while, to a woman who knows exactly how to take charge. When you're the one who grabs his face, pushes him back, climbs on top of him without a word of warning, it electrifies him. It completely shocks his system in the best possible way. In that moment, your body is saying loud and clear, "You're mine right now." And that right there is something he's secretly desperate for, even if he never says it aloud. Because here's what's happening under the surface when you do that. When you take control like that, you're not just exciting his body, you're turning off the part of his mind that feels it always has to direct, solve, and perform. You give him this rare, precious experience of being pursued, and pursuit is something most men don't even realize they're starving for until they feel it. When you're the one making the first move, when your body says yes before any words do, it flips a deep switch in him. The confidence, the hunger, the unapologetic boldness, it cuts right through his ego and speaks straight to the primal core of him. It stirs up something deeper than just arousal. It forges an emotional connection tied to the way you made him feel in that raw, unguarded state. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to dominate the entire night. You don't need to control every second. Sometimes all it takes is a brief moment, one moment where you take his hands and pin them down, or kiss him like you've been craving him all day and whisper, "I've been dying to do this to you since this morning." It could be the way you start undressing him first, or the way you guide his hands exactly where you want them. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being confident in your own desire. That contrast between who you are in daily life and who you become when you let desire lead, that's what makes it unforgettable. That contrast sticks with him, because now you're not just the woman he shares intimacy with. You're the woman who unlocked a side of him he didn't even know was begging to come out. What makes this so impactful is how rare it actually is. A lot of women hold back. They wait for signals, for hints, for permission almost. They want to feel desired, but they rarely show their own desire openly. But when you switch that script, even for a brief instant, you create a memory. You show him that pleasure isn't just something that happens to you. You claim it, you own it, and in doing so you pull him into a version of himself that's more vulnerable, more open, and much more deeply connected to you. Don't ever underestimate the power of that one moment where you confidently take control. It doesn't make you any less feminine, And it definitely doesn't threaten his masculinity. If anything, it makes the entire experience burn into his memory, unforgettable. And believe me, he'll play that moment back in his mind over and over again. Now, let's be real. Dirty talk is one of the most misunderstood tools in the bedroom. A lot of people think dirty talk is about saying shocking, raunchy things, or using words you'd never say in real life just to sound sexy. But in reality, the kind of words that truly drive a man wild aren't about shock, they're about connection. It's about using your voice in that moment in a way that tells him, I'm not just here, I'm right here with you, completely into this. What men crave deep down is presence. They want to know you're not just physically there. They want to feel that you're mentally and emotionally lit up, turned on, fully engaged with what's happening between you two. And when you use your words to express that, to share your experience of him, that's when he becomes addicted, not to your body, but to how you feel with him. Dirty talk doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be overly graphic. Sometimes the most powerful words are the quietest ones, the things you softly breathe into his ear while he's deep inside you. A simple, breathy, don't stop, or you feel so good inside me, hits deeper than anything scripted. It's dirty, yes, but it's also deeply sincere. It's laced with raw, unfiltered truth. When you tell him, in your own words, how much you're enjoying what he's doing, the way his body feels, the rhythm he's moving with, it flips another mental switch in him. It triggers this instinct that he is needed, desired, and chosen. And there's almost nothing more arousing to a man than realizing he's driving you to the point where you're losing control because of him. And here's the part most people miss. Dirty talk doesn't need to be rehearsed. You don't need a script. You don't have to remember certain phrases. In fact, if it sounds rehearsed or forced, it shatters the intimacy of the moment. What he really wants is authenticity. He wants you to speak from instinct, from your body, from your genuine arousal. If you're turned on, say it. If you love how he's touching you, tell him. If you've been fantasizing about him all day, whisper that in his ear while he's kissing you. That's not just dirty, that's real. That's what makes him feel deeply connected, deeply wanted, and unforgettable to you. When you combine that with moments where you take control, even briefly, you create this unforgettable blend of vulnerability, confidence, and raw desire. And that's a recipe for not just good sex, but connection that sticks to his soul. That's incredibly hot, because now he realizes it's not about putting on a show, it's about being emotionally bare. And here's where it goes even deeper. When you talk to him from that raw, turned on place with your eyes locked on his, you're also giving him permission to let go. You're saying, I'm not here to perform, I'm here to feel this fully. And in doing so, you make it safe for him to feel too, to open up, to express, to explore. That emotional safety mixed with physical passion, that's what makes him obsessed. Not just the words you say, but what those words unlock inside him. So stop overthinking everything. You don't need to become someone you're not. You just need to stop hiding the very feelings he's dying to hear. Because when you let him hear your desire, not just in sounds or gasps, but in words, he doesn't just crave your body, he craves the experience of being the man who brings that side out of you. And that's what he'll play over and over in his mind long after the night is done. There's a quiet weight most men carry when it comes to intimacy. They're expected to lead, make the first move, plan the scene, set the mood, read your signs, start the touch, spark the passion, and keep the momentum alive. And while some men enjoy that role and step into it confidently, many won't admit how much they secretly wish for a moment when you take control. A moment where there's no guessing, no wondering if you want them, because your actions already said it loud and clear. When a woman takes the lead, whether it's pulling him close, starting the kiss, guiding his hand, or climbing on top, it disrupts the usual story he's seen countless times. And in that disruption, something powerful shifts. His nervous system relaxes, his desire shoots up, his walls come down, because now he's not performing, he's being chosen. That doesn't mean you need to dominate everything. It means that one moment of boldness, clear, undeniable initiation, can change everything between you. Picture what it feels like for him when you walk into a room, slide your hand over his chest, lean close to his ear and simply say, "Come with me." No explaining, no waiting for a green light, just a woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to claim it. That right there, that's unforgettable. Not just because it's sexy, but because it's rare. Most women wait. They wait for him to prove something, to make them comfortable, to show confidence first. And sure, sometimes that's necessary. But when you flip the script and show your desire, your hunger, your certainty, it stirs something deeper in him. It tells him, "I see you. I want you right now." And when a man feels truly wanted, he doesn't just respond with his body, he connects emotionally. Because you just became the woman who made him feel desired without needing to jump through hoops for it. That kind of power isn't about being cold or aggressive. It's about being clear. There's so much heat in certainty, in the way your hands move without hesitation, in the way you kiss him like you mean it, in the way you step into his space and let your body say, "This is happening." When you do that, you give him something he rarely experiences, the chance to surrender to a woman's desire. And that surrender, that's not weakness, that's intimacy. It's the moment when the usual roles blur and the connection gets deeper, because now he's not just leading, he's responding. He's moving with your rhythm, your energy, your initiation. So don't wait for him to guess what's on your mind. Don't hold back your desire like it needs a special occasion. You are the occasion. And when you make the first move, not from neediness, but from confidence, you unlock something primal in him. And even when that moment is over, what he remembers isn't just what you did, it's how you made him feel. Completely wanted, completely chosen, completely yours. There's an art in intimacy that many overlook. It's not loud, it's not showy, and it's not always sexual in the usual sense. But it's the one thing men remember long after the night ends. The way you touch them. Most people don't realize how touch-starved men are. Deeply. Not just in bed, but in everyday life. Society tells men to be tough, to stay strong, to hold in their feelings. And because of that, very few ever experience being touched with tenderness, with intention, with emotional warmth. When you use your hands, not just during sex, but throughout, you're speaking a language most men are aching to hear. It's the kind of touch that says you're safe, you're seen, you're wanted. And that alone is enough to make him crave you on a level that goes beyond the physical. It could be the way your fingers trace his jawline, the way your hands slide slowly under his shirt, not rushing to the main event, but savoring each second. It's the path you draw down his back, the way your palm settles over his heart. These aren't just moves, they're messages, emotional messages, and they hit him differently than anything he gets from the world outside. A lot of women focus on the obvious, but real obsession doesn't come from the obvious. It comes from the subtle details, the moments when your hands linger on parts of him he didn't expect, his thighs, the back of his neck, the crease of his elbow, the gentle glide of your fingers across his stomach, slow, deliberate teasing. Those are the touches that wake him up. Not just sexually, but emotionally, because without saying a word, you're telling him, "I want every part of you." Not just the performance, not just the goal, every inch, every breath, every sensation of you. When you use your hands like that, you're doing more than just turning him on. You're embedding yourself in his body's memory, He starts associating your touch with calm, with pleasure, with comfort and heat. And that combination, that's lethal, because now he doesn't just think of you when he's aroused. He thinks of you when he's stressed, when he's exhausted, when he just needs to feel close to someone. That's when you've gone beyond lust. You've become his need. You don't need theatrics. You just need presence. Forget the mental checklist of what you're supposed to do and just feel him, breathe with him, be fully in your hands. Most men aren't used to that kind of attention. So when you give it to him, it lands deeper than logic. It speaks to the part of him that longs to be unraveled by someone who truly sees him, not as a protector or a provider, but as a man who wants to be felt. And once he's felt that, he'll never forget it. No matter where he goes, no matter who touches him next, he'll know the difference. He'll remember the way it felt to be truly seen and touched by you. Every man has fantasies. Some he knows well. Some he hasn't even allowed himself to fully explore yet. But what most men rarely experience is a woman who is not only unafraid of her own desire, but confident enough to voice it aloud. And I don't mean it in some exaggerated, overacted way. I mean softly, quietly, whispered straight into his ear when the rest of the world is sleeping. Because here's what you need to understand. For all the physical things that men experience, what truly stays with them is what plays inside their minds. And when it's your voice echoing there, soft, daring, suggestive, it becomes something he simply can't shake off. There's something deeply erotic about hearing the woman he's with reveal a fantasy, not in a way that feels performed, but in a way that feels honest. It's not about being crude, it's about being open, giving him access to a secret world that lives inside you, a moment where you allow your desire to speak, raw and unguarded. That space right there. It could be as simple as saying, "I can't stop picturing you pushing me up against a wall," or "I dreamt of your hands all night and woke up aching for them." It's not even about the exact words. It's about the closeness of sharing something real. When you whisper your fantasies to him, you're not just turning him on, you're building trust. You're saying, "I trust you enough to show this part of myself." And that kind of trust does more than excite him. It melts him from the inside. It invites him into a deeper connection, one most men never get to feel. Understand that, because you're not just participating, you're creating something together. Here's the truth no one talks about. Men crave to be chosen as the object of your desire. When you tell him what you want him to do to you, or what you'd like to do to him, he stops just performing. He starts becoming the man in your fantasies. That gives him meaning, confidence, a stronger sense of masculine presence that comes not from ego, but from the emotional invitation you're giving. And the whispering, that part is important. That nearness, your breath against his skin, that quiet intimacy, it skips his logic and goes straight to his emotions, his memory, his attachment to you. That's why he'll remember exactly how you said it, exactly the way it made his heart pound. He might not remember what clothes you had on, or even the look of the room around you, but he'll remember the feeling of that moment you said that one thing that made his pulse race. So don't keep your fantasies hidden away. Don't save them for someday or worry about whether he'll think it's too much. Speak them. Share them in the stillness of the night, in those quiet moments between breaths. Whisper them while he's inside you. When you do, you become unforgettable, not just because you excited him, but because you trusted him enough to show him the fire inside you. That kind of confidence, that's what makes a man not just want you, but crave you. There is something above all else that stirs a man in a way he can't explain or escape. And it's not some new move, it's not a flawless body, not even some adventurous act in bed. It's when a woman loses herself entirely in the moment. When she stops performing, stops worrying about how she looks, stops managing every gesture, and simply lets herself go. When she surrenders to her own pleasure, that's when a man becomes sexually obsessed. Because it's rare, it's potent, it's deeply human. See, most people, men and women, are stuck in their heads during intimacy, overthinking, planning, protecting themselves. But real obsession isn't born from techniques, it's born from presence. When you are fully inside your body, when you move, breathe, and respond from instinct rather than control, that awakens something primal in him. It tells him, she's not here to impress me, she's here to feel me. And that changes everything. When you moan, not because you're trying to sound sexy, but because you literally cannot help it, that's what pulls him deeper. When your hands grip him because you need to feel more, when your hips move without any planned rhythm because your body knows what it wants. That energy is irresistible. That's when he's not just having sex with you, he's witnessing something raw, something real, something sacred. And in that moment, when a man feels he's part of such an experience, your total surrender to the present, he becomes obsessed. Not just with your body, not just with sex, but with that version of you that showed up. Wild, open, free. Don't confuse surrender with weakness. This isn't about being submissive, it's about being fully alive. A woman who trusts herself enough to feel every bit of her pleasure is the most powerful woman in the room. She doesn't need to shout to be sexy, she doesn't need to take over to feel in control. Her power is in her depth, the way her body expresses more than words ever could. The way her eyes close, not to shut him out, but because she's inside herself, feeling everything he's giving her. That's what drives him insane. That's what burns itself into his memory. When you let go, when you stop censoring your reactions, stop hiding your hunger, you create something that cannot be duplicated. No one else can fake that. No one else can copy it, because it's not about what you're doing, it's about what you're truly feeling. That's what makes the moment unforgettable, because you were unforgettable in it. That's what men yearn for, even if they don't know how to ask for it. A woman who stops being perfect and starts being present. A woman who stops posing and starts living the moment. That's when he stops just seeing you as someone he wants and starts experiencing you as someone who transforms him, someone who unlocks something inside him, someone who raises the bar. So forget about being perfect, forget about control, let yourself go, lose yourself, not for him but for you. Because when you do, not only will you feel more alive, you'll become the woman he cannot stop thinking about, even when he tries. Let me leave you with this. The women men remember for just one night, they follow the script. The women men remember forever, they break it. Because what makes a man sexually obsessed isn't just what you do in bed, it's who you become when you're there, when you take the lead, when you whisper your truths, when you move with curiosity, touch with intention, and let go of all the expectations. That's when you become more than desirable. You become unforgettable. You don't have to be his fantasy. You need to be fully alive. Let your hands speak what your lips can't say. Let your body express before your words do. Let your pleasure guide you and watch how fast he follows. Here's the secret most women miss. A man doesn't get hooked on your performance. He becomes addicted to the way he feels when you're finally free. So if you're ready to stop holding back, if you're ready to show up with your desire with no apology, then drop a comment below and say, "Oh, my pleasure." Say it and mean it. And if this message stirred something inside you, something that's been quiet for too long, share it with someone you care about. Subscribe for more unfiltered, honest, and bold truths about love, intimacy, and everything in between. Because this isn't about pleasing him, this is about waking you up. And once you awaken that part of yourself, trust me, he won't just want you, he won't ever be able to forget you. Because here's the truth that no one really says out loud. Men don't just crave the touch of a woman's body, they crave the feeling of being inside a moment that feels unlike anything else. A moment where nothing is being held back, where there's no script, no filters, no careful choreography. A space where everything is raw, spontaneous, unedited. And that's something they don't even realize they've been starving for until they experience it. And when they do, when they feel a woman completely surrender to her pleasure, to her hunger, to her deepest needs, something inside them wakes up too. Something ancient, instinctive, something they can't put into words. It's not about being rough or wild, unless that's what you want. It's about being real, about making every touch, every breath, every sound come from a place so true that it bypasses thought altogether. That's when you stop being just another memory. That's when you become the one he replays in his mind when he's alone. The one he remembers not because of how you looked, but because of how you made him feel. And that's the part that no one else can replicate, because no one else has your unique fire. No one else carries your particular hunger, your specific way of wanting, needing, taking. So don't underestimate what lives inside you when you let go. That energy, it's unforgettable. It's irreplaceable. That's what men want, but don't know how to ask for. A woman who lets herself be fully, unapologetically alive in his presence. A woman who isn't asking for permission to feel, but claiming it. Every second, with every breath. And you know what happens when you show up like that? When you trust yourself enough to feel everything fully, you give him the permission to do the same, to drop the act, to stop pretending, to just be real with you. That's when you stop being just another lover. You become the person who made him feel free. And that freedom, that's what keeps him coming back. That's what keeps your name on his lips when he sleeps. That's what makes his body remember yours even if years pass. Because it wasn't just sex. It wasn't just bodies moving. It was a meeting of truths, a collision of souls without any masks. That's the obsession no one talks about. That's the addiction that doesn't fade. When you show up fully, with your voice, your touch, your desire, when you trust yourself to lose control, even for a moment, you create something that burns itself into his memory. So stop saving your fantasies, stop censoring your moans, stop hiding the way your body wants to move, the way your hands want to grip, the way your mouth wants to say the things you've always thought but never spoke. Let it out, speak it, move with it, live it, because that's what makes you unforgettable. And it's not about being perfect, it's not about being anyone else's version of sexy. It's about being fully, deeply, unashamedly you. That's the magic, that's the power. That's what will make him want you, crave you, need you, long after the moment has passed.